Hollywood, and the movies are synonymous. But far from Tinseltown, Culver City deserves much of Hollywood's credit. Home to several studios, in 1927 this quiet town was where two comics, each with established careers, began working together increasingly until a legendary partnership was formed. Once becoming a team, Stan and Ollie would film frequently on Main Street during the coming years, making it their cinematic home. To begin, looking west at tiny Culver City in 1920. Do you see Main Street? At back stands the studio that would later become MGM, still operating today as the Sony Pictures Studios. In the foreground stands the former Hal Roach Studios. Drawing closer, and now looking south, we see Main Street, the modest center of town. Yet three other studios stood nearby. Leaving his downtown studio behind, producer Hal Roach built his new studio on Washington Boulevard, a few blocks from Main Street. Known as the Lot of Fun, the Roach Studio will be forever remembered as where the Laurel and Hardy comedy duo was born. The short-lived Lehrman Studio stood next door. Heading back to town along Washington Boulevard stands another major studio. With a series of later owners, including RKO and Desilu, the studio built by Thomas Ince still operates today as Amazon Studios. The Ince Studio was just steps away from Main Street, the heart of Culver City. Now looking north from the Ince Studio to humble Main Street, that would later become the cinematic home for many Laurel and Hardy comedies. Remarkably, working from the nearby Lehrman Studio, Roscoe Arbuckle and Buster Keaton filmed on Main Street first, before Stan and Ollie. Here grabbing a pair of pants for Buster, and here fighting a leaking fire hose. As Culver City grew, this movie theater was replaced by the landmark Culver Hotel. Laurel and Hardy and other Hal Roach comedy stars would make these Main Street corners world famous. Looking east provides the best views of Stan and Ollie's Year One films. Their studio was just blocks away from Main Street. First, Ollie runs past the alley on Culver Boulevard, behind the Adams Hotel, in Do Detectives Think? Seen here in 45 Minutes from Hollywood, a bank robber leads Glenn Tyron past the corner of the Adams Hotel and into the same alley. Forced to wear the bank robber's dress, Glenn later runs from the alley beside the Adams Hotel. A different view of the alley with Glenn and the bank robber. The alley also played a major role in Stan and Ollie's later film, Liberty. Stan and Ollie steal a bike in Duck Soup at the corner of Main and Culver, with the Adams Hotel behind them. These Main Street stores appear during Putting Pants on Phillip. Glenn Tyron also runs up Main Street. Again and again. The boys run around the corner of Venice and Main in the second 100 years. Dorothy Coburn turns the same corner during Putting Pants on Phillip. The same corner of Main at Venice, looking north. A cop chases the limo drivers up Main with the Venice intersection at back. Main and Venice appear at the conclusion of Hats Off, a lost film, but the corner buildings remain. Here the boys pose at Culver looking up Main. Many scenes look south down Main from Venice towards the Culver Hotel, including Putting Pants on Phillip, The Second 100 Years, and 45 Minutes from Hollywood. The Culver Hotel remains a treasured city landmark. Just blocks from the Roach Studio, the hotel works well playing a bustling big city street. Opening in 1924, you can visit the same doorway as Stan and Ollie today. Glenn first grabs the bank robber on the corner side of the hotel. Beyond the hotel, Oliver leads his nephew Philip along Culver Boulevard past the former Maralta movie theater. At the time, it was playing Lonesome Ladies, starring Louis Stone. A final look back at Main Street. Heading west to the coast, let's focus on Sugar Daddies. The West Side beaches had 3 amusement park piers. The Abbot Kinney Pier in Venice, the biggest park, was completely destroyed by fire in 1920. Rebuilt in 1924, the Venice Pier became a popular filming site, including Sugar Daddies. The adventure begins miles away to the south at the former Sand and Surf Club in Hermosa Beach. Back in Venice, looking south, the attractions included a giant funhouse and the Some Kick roller coaster. Looking west, past the funhouse, toward the Some Kick roller coaster. Here the boys run toward the funhouse with Some Kick at back. As we'll see, other attractions included the Grand Ballroom, the Flying Trains ride, and the Spiral Dragon Slide Tower. Another view of the Grand Ballroom, Flying Trains ride, and the Spiral Dragon Slide Tower. Looking east, the boys walk back and forth beside the Flying Trains entrance at the left, with the dome of a candy stand behind them. Notice the candy stand dome and the backwards dancing sign calling people to the ballroom. In this closing scene, the Flying Trains entrance appears at back beside the same candy stand. The ballroom corner is to the right. This matching view from Charlie Chaplin's The Circus shows the same candy stand and more of the ballroom at the right. The Flying Trains ride has been renamed the Flying Circus. Chased by some cops, when Charlie turns the corner, we see the same candy stand and Some Kick way at back. To the left, we see the bottom of the Dragon Slide. Looking west at the Dragon Slide Tower and the ballroom's dancing sign in the foreground. Charlie's view shows the angry cop, Bud Fine, was standing beside the open mouth of the Dragon Slide. The Funhouse obstacles were wildly popular. Other movies took advantage of the Venice Funhouse to portray scenes supposedly set at New York's Coney Island. King Vidor's The Crowd is one famous example. Sadly, the pier was demolished in 1946, the end of an era. But Sugar Daddies captures close-up views of this happy place we can still enjoy today. Moving on, Love 'Em and Weep features some beautiful homes. To begin, Jimmy Finlayson's apartment still stands at 610 South Kenmore Avenue. The wild dinner party took place at the corner of St. Charles Place and Wellington Road. It's a thrill to see the home still looks the same. Focusing now on the second 100 years. As the studio grew, Roach built a small backlot of sets appearing in many films, including the second 100 years. Still looking east, a closer view of the backlot. At back stands the Pink Pup set appearing in Putting Pants on Philip. A closer view of the Pink Pup set. And the 5-cent pool hall at back. The same pool hall appears in Battle of the Century. Blocked from view, the battle begins left of this corner of the Taft Building. The battle in full swing. The Pink Pup reappears. The film ends when Anita Garvin slips beside the same corner of the Taft Building, and a cop chases the boys for the finale. The distinctive cinder blocks of the Roach shooting stage also appear during the second 100 years. Miles away, east of downtown LA, the second 100 years jail was the original Los Angeles County Hospital. The hospital gate on Marengo Street served as the prison gate, parts of which are still standing. The boys would film here again for their talking film, The Hooskow. The original hospital building at the left, now replaced, was a tuberculosis ward. The boys dine with the governor at a posh home once standing on the corner of Alpine Drive and Sunset in Beverly Hills. They filmed Duck Soup at this former mansion as well. Wrapping up, Duck Soup concludes returning to Culver City, to the empty lots south of the studio, appearing in many early films. Stan and Ollie wrestle with a fire hose on Carson Street. The background home still stands. 1927, year one. The boys began their legendary partnership while making Culver City their cinematic home. So much has changed over time, but these year one films document the early history of Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy and capture priceless images of the past.